All righty. Good evening and welcome to the new year. Happy 2024, everybody. I hope your new year was fun. Your holidays were amazing, and you're coming to this call and this year with a new point of view, new perspective, maybe a new zeal for life, a new zeal for uh, success, your definition of it. I tell you, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself tonight because 2024 is a big year for me on so many levels. But it started out with a shift in frequency, and it's something that in my household we do conscientiously. We don't let things dictate terms to us. We're the ones who create the terms around which we're going to live life. So one of the things that happens in this house is life cycle plans get made. For those of you who maybe follow my daughter Sophia, you would have seen in her Instagram live today as she was heading off to the airport. She had her life cycle plan rolled up in her backpack, sticking up out of her backpack as she's taking it with her back home to Guatemala. So I'm going to talk about what I think is really, really important for this moment in time, being not just a new year, but for me, a very specific new moment in time. As I've posted on my face or on my wherever I've posted them, usually I post them everywhere. You may have seen that I've announced that this is my 60th year on planet Earth this go around. And so I'll be celebrating my 60th birthday. This happens to be the year of the dragon, the year I was born, but not just the dragon, it's the wood dragon, because that happens only once every 60 years. So it's a big factor in astrology. If you follow the winds of change as seasons come and go and things cycle and repeat and whatnot, that's the nature of the reality we live in. So it's a pretty big deal. And one of the factors that dictate what the year of the dragon is for the wood dragon is growth. That's my word for the year, and that's synonymous with the frequency of this particular season. So growth can mean a lot of different things, but my daughter, Savannah, who loves to do card readings, her angel cards and whatnot, she asked me last night at I don't know, we went to bed around 1:30, but me, Sophia, and Savannah were hanging out in the living room before we all parted ways. And Savannah said, I'll do yours. And sure, okay, whatever. And we did mine, and it was incredible. It was like somebody wrote the script. It was just, as you went around the circle, it was like it was telling a story. And the story was very, very clear. And it was essentially what exactly I knew the process I was in right now. So the process that I'm in is one of, I wouldn't say renovation, I would say innovation. We become in our life, we experience the situations in our life based on the person we assume ourselves to be, based on the identity that we identify ourselves with. I am this, I am that. When we start to identify ourselves with images, concepts, words, themes, feelings, what we're really saying is I'm broadcasting to the universe the frequency I'm on. And the universe only can respond in kind. That's just the nature of the reality. We don't get back something that we didn't put out. We only get back what returns to us. We're the source of what returns to us. And so if your identity isn't changed, nothing changes. So if you're looking for 2024 to be something different than 2023, or bigger or grander or whatever, the first thing that needs to actually be assimilated into your thought process is your identity. What does it look like? Who do you associate yourself as this new version of self that you hope to see emerge in 2024, which will attract to it all of the nuances and experiences that are in harmony with that particular identity? And so if you want to have a season of growth in Nikan, and I also want to very much clarify a theme that I'm communicating as well, loud and clear. Nobody wants to join a cult. So I don't think we need to be selling the idea of people joining Nikan. I really don't think that that can relate to the population at this time. What people want is what people want. And if you can provide them a path to get what they want, they'll be more than happy to listen to it. So people don't want Nikan. People don't want magnets. People don't want water purifiers. They don't want air filters. They don't want skincare. They don't want pills to take. What do they want? At the end of the day, if you can give them what they want, then they're going to listen. So if you're talking about water filters and pills and magnets and stuff like that, you're not talking to the person on the level of what they want. You're talking to them on the level of what you want to talk about. And so that's not going to be very attractive. What people want are three very fundamental things. You can write this down. They want mental serenity. They want physical vitality. And they want financial certainty. So if you got something that can offer that, they're going to be listening. And then all the bells and whistles and all the stuff that follow that, yeah, that's all just the nuances of Nikan. But they're not joining Nikan for the sake of joining a cult or joining a brand or joining. That whole idea is so not fashionable that, as I shared an image with you guys on a previous call, the image was your life in balance, was the 5 pillars balance wheel. And then it said on the bottom right-hand corner, empowered by Nikan. Empowered by Nikan. In other words, Nikan is here to empower us to live the life that we want to live. Nikan is a vehicle to help empower us, as are other things in our life. Nikan is not the only thing that you use to be you. Some of you drive a car. Some of you drive a bicycle. Some of you, I don't know, think of all the things that you do for sustenance and support that makes you live your life. Some of you guys use all kinds of services, a hairdresser, whatnot. These are all things that we use to support us in being who we want to be, living how we want to live. And Nikan is one of those things. And the reason why I think it's really clear and important is because if we're going to identify, if we're going to put on a new identity, we have to have an identity with our relationship to Nikan and how we're communicating that with other people so they feel it's an inviting proposition rather than something, no, thank you, I don't want to give up my identity that I've worked the last 25 years to create so that I can adopt your cult. That's not how we want to come across. What we want to come across is, you know, that identity that you've been working on for the last 25 years? How'd you like to enhance it? I might have something that can help you enhance it, that which you have been working hard to create, rather than, hey, why don't you abandon that crap that you have put yourself in and come and join us in this boat that's sailing into the sunset? Do you see what I'm saying? The difference in the way that feels, the difference in the way that will be received by somebody. So if Nikan is a leg up, a lift up, and a way to help somebody enhance their identity, enhance their performance, create more vitality in their well-being, give them a little bit more of mental serenity, create a little bit more financial certainty, then Nikan is a desirable thing to learn about, not to join. To learn about, to employ, not to join. Okay? So I think that as we start to communicate it that way, then it's going to be much more interesting for people to learn about it. and listen to us. So then let's get back to you. Well, let's get back to me for a second. So there has been a mental shift for me, and I kicked off January 1st by buying tickets for me and my family to Barbados to celebrate my 60th birthday. So I made a big financial commitment. That was the first thing I did. Was I wasn't conservative in my approach to the life I want to live in 2024. And I suggest you don't be conservative either. You might think, oh, that's prudent to be conservative. It's a vibration. It's a frequency. It's hard to call in abundance when at the same time you're putting out being conservative. And so you've got to get on a path, on a channel. And it's like people who chase security are the most insecure people, but the ones who chase freedom are so secure. And it's the same idea. Pursuing abundance, pursuing a higher quality of life, pursuing financial certainty, pursuing vitality, physical vitality, pursuing mental clarity and certain, or not certainty, serenity. Those are really good pursuits. Those are really worthy things that bring out the best of you. It's an aspiration, and it helps us to aspire to do things and to maybe take actions that we would be not in a position to take if we were more conservative, if we had a more conservative outlook, if we had a more conservative hat on. So I'm going to refer to your identity as the hat you're wearing. And you have to ask yourself this question: is it time to change hats? And if it is, why not now? Now's probably the best time to do it, since it is the start of a new year. We also have the benefit of hindsight. We can look at 2023 and be grateful for 2023, but at the same time, learn from 2023. What would we have done different, knowing what we now know? And then put that into your action plan for 2024. Everything that I tap into for my information, for my way of navigating life, indicates to me 2024 is a breakout year. It is not a conservative year. Things are going to be breaking out, all kinds of things, like tons of information, good and bad, but it's all by design to get us to break out of the conservativeness of our life that we have somehow fallen into because it's been a matter of convenience, or we just lost our way. I put something out that I saw on one of the channels recently somewhere. I put it into my family chat and everybody loved it. I'm going to read it to you. I hope you don't get offended because it can be offensive. Kevin O'Leary, I don't know if you guys know him. He's the guy who's on one of those shows, what do they call those
Shark
shows?
Tank.
Shark Tank, yeah. He said, a salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. So that's pretty powerful. A salary is the drug they give you to forget your dreams. And I've had some really great conversations with my kids since they've been home, because we did reflect on 2023 as we look toward 2024. Some of those reflections were based on them stepping away from the nest, flying out on their own, and sometimes crashing and burning. But even that experience was an experience that gave them understanding and insight. So my kids didn't come back from 2023 crushed. They came back from 2023 so on fire and so looking forward to 2024, because they've internalized everything that they've learned and are anxious to apply it in 2024. How would you like to be like that? Well, you're going to be like that if you just take time to really look at 2023 and pull out from 2023 the highlights, which could, by the way, also include the lows, because it's in those moments that you really are being given opportunities for growth. And then look at those highlights, and then consider that like your highlight reel. Do your highlight reel for 2023. We did it. We said, what were your highlights for 2023? Do your highlight reel. It's really interesting because it gives you a sense of achievement, accomplishment, movement, and then say, okay, we're now going into 2024. And by the way, before you go into 2024, also take stock. Did 2023 line up? Did it line up your experiences? Did it line up with the hat you were wearing? Think about that. Did your experience in 2023 line up with the hat you were wearing, with how you identify yourself? And if we want to modify those experiences, we need to modify the hat you're wearing, the identity you're associated with. So start thinking about that. In Quebec, in Laval, they have Humans Being More this Saturday. So they're very fortunate in that they can get to immerse themselves in a day to really strip away and start looking at how they want to identify in 2024. I really strongly urge everyone on this call and everyone listening to the playback, don't take another minute of 2024 as a boat without a compass, a boat without a rudder. Don't go into 2024 simply on momentum of 2023. Go into 2024 as a conscious creator. Choose what 2024 is going to be for you. It is a year in your life, and you only have so many of them. What's this year going to be about? If you're going to summarize the experience of 2024, what will it have been for you? What's the one word? What's the word you identify with 2024? Doesn't have to be my word. My word is growth. I'm not coasting into 2024. I'm turning the jets on. So you're going to see that in terms of how I perform in my actions, which, by the way, if they don't translate into actions, they're just words. So we're going to take those ideas and then start looking at actions, a list of actions that you can take that are aligned with the identity of the person you want to be known as in 2024. So what actions concerning your physical health, your mental health, what actions concerning your family, what actions concerning your contribution, what actions concerning your businesses, and what action concerning your Nikan business. So these are things that you need to define, you want to define, so that you can be a conscious creator. Now, this is not an exercise everybody does. I'm sure everybody's heard it. What are your New Year's resolutions and all that crap? But they don't ever turn them into an action plan, and they don't take them seriously, whereby, right out of the gate, first week, the actions are happening. I made the first step of the vibration that I'm on Jan 1. I finished the year. We celebrated in style. And then come Jan 1, I made a big decision. It was a big financial decision to take me and my family to, a top vacation experience. So why would I do that? Because I don't want to go into 2024 conservatively. I want to blast into 2024 and create all kinds of chaos and mayhem, because that's where the growth comes from. So it's exciting to be that way. I'm telling you, it's a hell of a lot better than to be super conservative and super worried about what the future holds. I don't care what the future holds. I'm creating it. So I suggest you maybe borrow a page from my experience in the last little while and jump right in if this is you. Now, there are things that are being planned in terms of Nikan corporately and with field interaction to make 2024 a growth year, especially. So you want to be one of the people who is leading that campaign rather than always asking, oh, what's going on? What was happening? What did they announce? You know what I'm saying? Don't be a spectator here. Be a leader, because outside of this inner circle are millions of people who've never heard of Nikan, who've never heard of any of the things that we do, don't understand it, even if they have heard of it, and yet they want everything that we have to offer, which is the serenity of mind, the vitality of body, and the certainty of finances, because we create our own. I was talking with the Quebec group and I said, tell me, what job can you go to? What business or CEO can you knock on the door and say to them, I am going to make this much money this year. You're going to pay me this year. Who does that? And I say that because I believe it was today. Was it either today? No, it was today. The announcement was made here in Toronto. We have a team called the Toronto Maple Leafs, and we have a hockey player named William Nylander who signed today a $92 million contract. The biggest contract in the history of the Toronto Maple Leafs was signed today with William Nylander. And this guy has been killing it since the start of the season. I mean, he is absolutely the golden child of Toronto. Out of nowhere, this guy's just blasting through everything. Just suppose he started his season with the understanding that he's going to go into a contract negotiation, and based on how he's performing, they'll determine the value of this contract. Well, it was based on his performance, his actions. And he decided how much he was going to get paid. And he performed like a person who's worth that kind of money. And they gave him everything he asked for. No negotiation. Man, that's how you do life. That's how you do life. You don't negotiate. Who are you negotiating with? When you have the authority of the creator to create whatever you want, who are you negotiating with? So, and when you got a company like Nikan who says, you can write the check, we'll pay it. You know, the compensation plan doesn't tell you how much you can make. It tells you what you get paid on as a percentage of whatever business you create. They're not telling you how much business you have, how much you're allowed to have. So we have this blank slate, and yet we come into this business extremely conservatively because we're wearing all the hats and the conditions of the past. And we come in maybe with an employee mentality, with a salary mindset, and we're satisfied with too little. You know, you're given a blank slate, you're given an open-ended possibility, you're given a business and a product line and so forth that can deliver what it is that people are looking for, and you're very conservative about it. You're very sheepish about it. Why? Is this a time to be that way? Or do you need to put on a new hat? Is it time to wear a new hat? I'll tell you, the second you put on a new hat, the people in your life are going to react. Now, there's another part to this that's really critical. How do you stay in alignment with that new identity? How do you stay focused? How do you stay, because as I was talking with my girls, they went through some hills and valleys, and they needed help when they were in the valleys. Sometimes it was just a shake of their head. So who are you in direct contact with that you know when you're in the valley, the first thing you do is you get in touch with that person who you trust can help you shake loose that frequency that is not in harmony with the identity of the person you wish to represent this year by. Okay, it's super important. You guys are going to operate your Nikan life, your business, everything. If you're in this circle professionally, I'm going to call you to task on it. I'm going to make sure that you're operating as best you can because you're operating on a professional level and not a hope and a whim and a prayer. Hopes, whims, and prayers, that's not for professionals. That's not for conscious creators. So we choose our experiences, we make decisions, we make the actions that are in alignment with that, and we have somebody as a lifeline to keep us accountable to all of it. So you need to pick somebody. If you haven't done that yet, this is the first task. Define who you are this year. Define the experience you want to have this year relative to last year. Make sure it's based on what you've experienced. So you're making a forward movement, not a sideways movement. Think about it. A forward movement, not a sideways movement. Who wants to repeat? I mean, this was the craziest thing. I went to dinner a few years ago in Barbados with a guy who wrote the score for The Hobbit, all the three movies. He's a friend of mine anyway. So I ended up at his house, and I'm with his wife, who's my friend, and I'm saying, where is he? And she says, oh, he's upstairs writing. And I'm thinking, I don't hear anything. And I mean, open windows, open doors. I don't hear any music. Anyway, he comes down to join us for tea, and I'm saying, you were upstairs writing? He says, yeah, I was just finishing the score and working on the score for the third or Lord of the Rings, they called it, Lord of the Rings. He won three what do you call those things for the Lord of the Rings? 3 Academy Awards for the score. Anyway, I'm not hearing anything, and I said, I didn't hear anything. He says, what do you mean? I said, well, but normally when you write, don't you like use a piano or whatever? He says, I was writing. He was writing the music. I mean, the guy was literally writing the music. He wasn't playing the music and then thinking about the notes he was playing. He was writing the music because he was hearing it in his head, every instrument. And then he sends the score to New York. They put it together, send it back, and he listens to it and decides what he wants to keep and throw out. I was just blown away by the mastery. Anyway, I digress. I'm not sure why I said that, but I completely forget why I said that story. But I guess we're getting back to the idea of an identity. And I mean, how do you identify? How do you identify yourself with the experiences that you want to have?
It was forward movement rather than
Thank you.
side movement.
Correct. Yes, thank you. So why would I bring that analogy up? Anyway, forward movement. Thanks for bringing me back to that, Nancy. Yeah. Well, oh, that's why. Because at dinner, we were talking about music, and somebody was saying, oh, I love that song. I listen to it all the time. And then he looks and says, why would you listen to it all the time? I'm like, well, what do you mean? What's your favorite? And he says, well, this, that, that, whatever. And I said, well, how often do you listen to that? Once. Why would I listen to it again? I already heard it. I couldn't believe this guy. This guy was a genius. I mean, seriously, this guy's a genius. Anyways, so he would always listen to something, and once he listened to it, it was time to listen to something else. There was always progression, always movement. Anyway, I say that because I know we have our favorites, but we really do need to make 2024 a movement forward. How many of you, by show of hands, want 2024 to be a forward movement in your life, not a lateral movement? Okay, great. Look at everybody comes off on the camera to say so. Okay, good. Guys, I can promise you this, as you know, I'm talking to the choir here. The first thing that has to change is our identity, who we are identifying ourselves as. And sometimes it's uncomfortable to shift that, but that's where the growth lies. It's in not being the person you were, it's in being the person you wish to be. And if you don't know what it is, who's going to know for you? So you've got to start spending some time with yourself, and not a lot. Take a day or two, contrast it to last year and say, okay, here's how I would like to see this go this year. Evaluate it in your key areas of life and give it a value so that you actually can monitor it. You can see the progress that you're making. Then associate with every one of those things. Let's say it's an income goal. Associate with every one of those changes an identity, because if you made this much money, that's your identity. One of the first things that Bob Proctor did when he sat down with me at his dining room table, first time I met Bob Proctor was at his dining room table. First question Bob Proctor asks me was, how much money did you make last month? First question the guy asked me. Now, he didn't do it to be mean or mean-spirited or anything. He just wanted to size me up in terms of what was my identity with money. What was my relationship to money? What was my consciousness around money? Because that's how it works. It's like a thermometer. What's the temperature in the room? Check the thermometer and it'll tell you the temperature in the room. So The thermostat is our mind. Our self-image is the thermostat that governs how we're going to do. He would remind me, why does a golfer go out who's, let's say he shoots an 80 on average? He goes out and shoots a 72 on the, or a 36 on the front nine, which means he could par the thing, but on the back nine he blows out. Why? Because the thermostat says he's an 80 golfer. So he will sabotage the back nine so that he can get to the self-image that he's got programmed into himself. It's all about our identity. So if you want to make some serious more forward movements, you've got to define some new aspects of your identity. You've got to open up the door and say, okay, if this is my weight, this is my weight. If this is my earnings, this is my earnings. If this is my popularity, this is my popularity. If this is my confidence, this is my confidence. Define those things that govern you and you identify with, and modify them, and just start acknowledging that that's who you are. And then what will happen is your actions can be defined by the new you. So for instance, the new you who has more confidence might say, well, I'm now going to join this social club, or I'm going to start to learn how to do posts on Facebook, or I might actually learn how to do Instagram because that's where all the youngers are hanging out. You're going to do things that you wouldn't do based on your old identity. And you know what they are, because all you have to do is look at last year. Look at last year. You did based on what you identify with. So if you want to move forward, change the identity and just add to what you're doing. Do it differently. Got to acknowledge my daughter just landed. Hard to let him go, I tell you, boy. So first things first, we shift our identity. Now we got to translate this into actions that matter. Nikan is doing some stuff, as I said, to provide us with platforms. And since Nikan is a platform, not what we join, but what supports us to be what we want to be. It's a platform we stand on. Not something we join. It's a platform we stand on. It's a platform we build on. It's a platform that supports us. Use it, that terminology. Nikan is a platform. It provides mechanisms and means. For instance, do they have products that can enhance your vitality physically? Yes or yes? So we know they have that. By the way, how many of you are on mental clarity? Man, if you're not, I'm telling you, it's like rocket fuel. I swear by mental clarity, I wasn't a user, and then I became a user. And I'm like, man, this stuff really works. So I'm a big fan. Anyway, so yes, we have products that help with our vitality. Do we have a business that can give us some financial certainty? Well, I know if I do a waterfall sale, I know exactly how much money I make, and I know I control how many waterfall sales I make in a year. Nobody else does. I do. So the certainty of my finances are in my hands. It's not random. So that's the direct side of it. The indirect side of it is growing the network. Does that create more financial certainty if you have a network? The answer, of course, is yes. If you have a network, you have greater financial certainty, because in any given day, in any given month, somebody's doing something that adds to your bottom line. So it increases your financial certainty. So building a network becomes a very, very important thing if we want to experience financial certainty. And if you want to experience financial growth, the good news is that as you talk to more people, you experience both the immediate benefit of sales and you benefit the growth of an organization. So talking with people and sharing with people what you have that could help them get what they want or enhance them in what they want becomes so much easier when you understand and appreciate the value of what you have. and the need that's out there for what you have. Again, they don't need Nikken. They don't need magnets. So stop pushing that. What they need is financial certainty, physical vitality. That's what they need. And they need mental serenity. And if you've got things, and Nikken is one of those things that can do that, that can help that, that's amazing. You know, your presence and your conversation with somebody can do that. Especially if you identify yourself as someone who is there to provide service and meet people at their needs. If you can start to wear the hat of a service provider, if you can wear the hat of somebody who's actually, who matters, who can be a conduit, how much value is there in giving somebody a genuine hug? You know, you all can do that, right? You can break down barriers with a hug. Now, why don't we do that? Oh, it's not proper. It's uncomfortable. It's blah. It's whatever. We make all kinds of stuff in our head up as to why it's not appropriate. But at the end of the day, just giving somebody a serious hug, an honest hug, can change their frequency. So you don't need a Nikken to do that. You just need the will to do that. You need the will to be a person who wants to matter in the lives of other people, who wants to help make a difference. So start to wear that hat proudly, that you do make a difference as a person when you care about other people. And the fact that you have tools, man, that's just you know, putting more gas on the fire. All right. Let's get back to some of the structural things. Barbara, you have your hand up. You have your hand up for it?
Just a quick comment. You mentioned about the mental clarity. After my surgery last year, I was in such a brain fog for several days following the anesthesia. I took the mental clarity, and within 48 hours, the fog was totally gone, and I had focus once again. It was so fast.
I know. I'm so impressed with this product. You know, I probably wouldn't have even gotten on it if it wasn't for my friend who wanted to go on the auto ship, and she starts going through and she wants to, what's in it? So I have to look it up. I get to the cap, you know, the screen that shows you what's in it, and I start reading it off to her, and she's like, holy crap, that's got this. This is what, so every product I was talking about, she knew what the things were that were in it, and she was educating me on it. And I'm like, wow, I should be on this. And so, and that's what happened. So that's what happened. Anyway, good things. So let's get back to, so what is Nikken doing to make it possible for 2024 to be a robust year for all of us? If we get our heads screwed on right, if we set some conditions up for ourselves to win, and we start to put that identity together, if we start to work with someone to help us stay on focus, stay on point, because you need that. That guy who got a $92 million contract, he has a coach. He couldn't be who he is without the coach. Now, yeah, he's a great player. He's a superstar, but he's been coached his entire life. And he always had to meet the expectations of the coaches. Otherwise, they wouldn't play him. So keep that in mind. To get out of the condition of what you are in, which is complacency around your identity, you need somebody to kick your butt. We all do. So get somebody you trust, you have confidence in, that's on your Rolodex, that's a click away, a dial away to say, SOS. I got one of those calls. Today's what, Monday? Yesterday I got one of those calls. No, excuse me, it was Saturday. And we set up the call for Sunday. So anyway, the point is, you got to have that SOS. That means the person knows you need them. And then you make the connection, you get the thing figured out, because you cannot keep in that frequency and be productive. You've got to get out of that frequency. You got to stay in the new you. So get help, even if it's somebody you tap into. My daughter, Sophia, by the way, if you haven't seen my Facebook post today, check it out. She's just she just created a new platform. She's using a new platform and dumped all of her content. Like I'm talking about from the very beginning, all of her content for free. So you guys want you want to keep yourself busy and entertained and educated and positive vibes and really get your head screwed on right. Just go there and read a chapter, watch a video or something. It's as good as it gets. I'm a little bit biased because she's my daughter, yes, but as far as I'm concerned, it's as good as it gets. So that's what I'm talking about. You have to want to stay connected to a frequency that's going to support the new you. And there's no way around this, guys. There's no shortcuts around this because we all get into stinking thinking. We're all susceptible to the influence of other people, especially negative. We're wired that way. So we've got to conscientiously stay connected to positive energy, positive people, positive thinking. You've got to make it your daily, not weekly, your daily routine is to plug in, get charged. What do you do with your phone at night? You charge it, right? You put it in the charger so that you got a fresh charge in the morning. Hey, what do you think we need to do? We're humans. We need to recharge the batteries mentally, physically, emotionally. Otherwise, we're doomed to repeat the previous day. And days become weeks, weeks become months, and months become years. And then you look back and say, holy smokes. So don't be that person. You can't help anybody if you can't help yourself. And we need help to do that, to get really good at it. So connect, stay connected with somebody. Promise me to do that. You'll connect with somebody. I don't care who it is. If it's me, if it's others, whoever you trust that you could do an SOS and they know I'm on. Excuse me a second, guys. I need to take this call. Okay. We all need it. So we have a new product launch on the 20th of January on the Master Day. That is an opportunity. So spread the word. Pick up the phone, guys, and start phoning people who are consultants on your team. Nobody's going to, customers aren't going to be interested in a 4-hour Master Day. So don't bother with that unless they're interested in looking at the business. But this product has legs. Now, I'm not allowed to tell you what it is, but I have it. and I've been testing it on people to see whether or not there's an interest, and it's all they need to know is I have X, and they're like, really? Oh, I want that when it comes in. They don't even have to see it or try it. They just need to know what it is. So this thing already has value and perceived value in the public. And the fact that we have this particular way of doing what we do has also a recognized value. So this is a no-brainer, guys. This product is going to be a no-brainer. Trust me on that, no-brainer. So what's so good about that is because it can give us lift very, very quickly. It can give us air under our wings, especially when we're doing this movement to create a new identity, a new impression. Barbara?
Mike, when Luis came to Toronto to have the meeting a year ago this past October, we had a 20-minute conversation together. And I asked him if Nikan would develop this product. And he smiled at me. He said, well, might be something we could consider. So I know what it is, and I'm so excited, and no, I haven't let the cat out of the bag.
Okay, great. So 20th of this month. So there's going to be dates that should be in your calendar. I call these the non-negotiables. These are the dates that, I mean, unless there's a death in the family, God forbid, these are the dates that are non-negotiables for those of us that are the professionals, the ones that are called to be the leaders and the champions of this movement. So those dates ought to be your Seiko Kaiser Master Days, those special events. So we know January 20th is Master Day, and we're going to get information about this product and how to communicate that. And we're going to be given an opportunity to actually get it, which starts shipment on February 1. Then February is the test. So February 1 is everybody experience the month of February as a customer of this product and start getting the buzz out. Start letting people know, because then there's going to be a February event followed by something on March 9. Now, I know the Seiko Kai is later in March, but March 9 specifically, Nikon's going to be launching this product in a public way. So you're basically using the month of February to create your own experience, to have your own personal story and experience with this, so that you can speak to people with the enthusiasm that you would want to be able to, representing something new and innovative. So January is we upload, February is we experience, and March is we explode. This is where we go public and we hit into the momentum phase. Now, around a product launch, which is a category in this case, you can build a business. Around a single product, you can build, in a category particularly, you can build a business. Companies are launched with a single product. Nikon was launched with a single product. For 3 years, it was only one product. So you can, and they hit $1 billion with that one product. So one product can launch a company. Okay, that's how significant this is if we have our heads screwed on right, if we know what we're doing. And so we're getting a lot of heads up about this because we want to do this right. We want to come out with this in a way that is perceived correctly, both by the field, by our customers, and then by the general public at large. Because 2024 is the year of growth. Did I talk about that? That it's the wood dragon every 60 years, wood grow. Okay, so it's the year of growth. Let's see my notes. So dates, the dates with Destiny are those significant dates in the calendar. So have them in the calendar. If you don't know what they are, I believe we now have the calendar. Has it been published? Do you know if the PDF is out yet? It is. I don't know if I've seen it. Maybe it's in the back office. If somebody has that PDF of the calendar, if you've got it, you can share on the WhatsApp chat so that everybody can have it at their fingertips. So we have all the significant dates. What else? We have the incentives program. Now, the first one, the We Accelerate, I'm telling you this, I'm going to tell you this again. In all of my years in Nikon, there has never been this much money on the table for sponsoring somebody. Never. In all of my years. And I've looked outside of Nikon to see how are we comparing. Trust me when I tell you, nobody's got anything on us where this is concerned. As far as making money, if somebody seriously wants to make money and they're saying, oh, well, we're not making enough money. We don't make, show them this. This We Accelerate is 20% on top of the compensation plan. Okay, that means as a silver, it's 40%. Okay, you've not seen those numbers in your entire career. So there's a lot of money on the table to sponsor someone. And the reason why? Because Nikon wants to grow in 2024. And that's how we do it. We sponsor people. Sherry.
Hey, question about the Thursday night NFL thing. What's going on? I wasn't sure what to say about that. That's the
18 karat. I was going to talk about that because that program is real, and I want that program to be the program, the A-team program. It's basically the program. I'll talk about that at the end, but yeah,
okay,
that's I'll remind everybody, and I'll recirculate. But we've learned some stuff as well, things that we need to communicate better. So We Accelerate. 2, the travel program is now front and center stage, which is why I posted today the video with Sophia talking about the travel with purpose. Use that video. It's an amazing video that talks about somebody who might want to travel and be a part of a company that has that type of an incentive program. Okay. Then the third category in the incentives program, that's business building. Okay. That's like your Team Kaizen type scenario. And everyone on this call should be qualified to win the trip to, at the very least, to the convention, which is the 35th anniversary convention this year. So that is a calendar event that goes in your calendar. The non-negotiable, that's it. Let's see. And finally is the for golds and above, it's the lifestyle program. But backing up to the business building. So how do we ensure that everybody on this call, how do you ensure that your new identity identifies yourself as one of the people who achieves that recognition, who achieves those incentives? Do not identify yourself as somebody who watches other people achieve it. That it's good for them, not for me. No, 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 no. If you're going to be on my call, I'm not going to give you permission to slip through the cracks. You don't get to hide in the background. You get to be counted as among us, among the people who matter, who make a difference. So your identity has to be one of a person who is qualifying for all of those incentives. You need to be one of those people because we need those people to lead others to that opportunity to create those wins for themselves. So your identity has to be one who's won and qualified for all those incentives. So as you're writing this down, as you're writing your identity for 2024, please include that as a winner of those incentives. Start defining them. If you're going to travel, where do you want to go? Just get really clear about this. And I can't stress this enough. Your identity is going to dictate everything. It's going to dictate the actions you take and the actions you don't. The ones you excuse yourself from. So it's got to be clear what you're going to do this year, who you're going to be this year, how you're going to be known this year. So with respect to the 18 karat gold program, I think we call it 18 karat gold club. That program, since Nikken doesn't have that incentive, that doesn't mean we shouldn't. So I'm going to be discussing with members of the NFL team an incentive where that's concerned, separate and apart from the Nikken incentives, because I think what we'd like to actually have is a leadership event. And so that might tie into a leadership event this year. However, that's not even the important thing. The important thing is, do you have a landing pad, a launch pad actually, for somebody who comes into this looking for a business solution, looking for a financial solution? That's their prime directive. They want somebody who can paint the picture with a credible voice, obviously with the skill set and the life experience of that success story. So the NFL team is committed to the 18 karat gold club. I'm going to repost what it means and how you can participate, because we've got a lot of people who registered who did nothing with it, zero. So they registered for nothing. We don't want that. That's a waste of everybody's emotional intelligence. What we want is to be clear about what it's about. It's about somebody who you're enrolling. If you're going to be part of this, there's an A+, which is the Royal Diamonds and some of the diamonds. There's an A. The A is the person who is about to launch a newbie. Okay, so that A is the person who's going to launch somebody, and then there's the person that's going to launch. Now, that's the goal of this, is to provide a platform for that to happen, for somebody to identify themselves as a launch partner, and for the person who's launching them, their launch partner, to have a platform that they can run on supercharged so that the content is really professional, very concise. So we want to provide events, which is in the calendar, which is a Thursday night and a Saturday. Those 2 nights are dedicated for those people who have prospects, who are in the process that we teach, which is the 3 steps, the 3 conversations. You all know what I teach. It's the why, the how, the what. And so we're going to have the conversation that leads to the what on Thursday night. And we're going to have the Saturday, which is a getting started. Again, this is kind of a recap. It's more of an interaction. So it's more interactive with that prospect so that we can hear what they want. We can start to guide them so that they make decisions to invest time, money, and contacts in their Nikken business. That's the purpose of this, is to identify launch partners. A launch partner, somebody's going to put time, money, and contacts on the table. Not in theory, on the table. So they need to know why that's important, and that's why we're going to do the presentations on Thursday and Saturday. Now, a new presentation is starting up tomorrow. I'm going to be a guest presenter on tomorrow's Happy Life, Balanced Life presentation, and I'm going to be doing a better way to provide a template for that presentation. Now, normally that presentation is done in a live environment. So in a Zoom, I'm not exactly sure if I'll keep to the 30 minutes, but we'll try. The idea here is the Tuesday night presentations are going to be like a wellness preview. They're going to be opportunity meetings, which means it's not about the products, but the products are discussed in short. It's about the lifestyle that can be created with Nikken as a platform. So that's the Tuesday night. Why would you participate in that? Why would you bring guests to that? Well, if you're not doing it yourself, then how is anybody going to learn about how Nikken operates as a platform to provide people with a possibility of supporting their lifestyle? That's why we bring them to the wellness preview. That's why we bring them to the Happy Life presentation. So that presentation is not going to be a product-centric presentation. Those videos already exist on YouTube. You've got somebody who wants to know about air, send them the air video. They want to learn about water, send them the water video. That's not what a live presentation is for. The most important thing a live presentation can do is provide some testimonies. So we want to make them become more about testimonials, and that'll happen. It'll evolve into that. So tomorrow will be one of the first of this new oriented version. There is another tool that you now have for providing support to somebody who wants to investigate Nikken, and that is abetterway.business, www.abetterway.business. How many of you on this call have gone to that site and looked at it? www.abetterway.business. That was put together by Sophia. It's phenomenal. Explore it all. So you see, it's all the content you could possibly imagine in one spot, organized. So it walks them through a storyline. And that, in my opinion, is the entirety of the how conversation. How can Nikken fit? It even walks them through how they can participate. So you've got a live meeting on Tuesday. You've got the link to that website. You can use both in tandem, and I would. You also have these brochures, by the way, in physical form, which as you start up your live meetings locally, which is the last point I want to make, you're going to need some promotional tools to, leave. You want people to go home. So I want people to go home with this brochure and a catalog. Those are the 2 things I want them to have when they leave an opportunity meeting. The catalog, because it shows the products, each item, details, cost, and so forth. But this brochure, this is the French version. I got the English version somewhere here. This brochure, well, I don't know where it is, somewhere here, is essentially a better way presentation in short form. So you can do a one-on-one, or if they've just experienced the presentation, they go home with this as a recap, because it's the same slides. So what you have here is a way to provide information in a professional way. and in a concise way and in a duplicatable way. Why does it have to be duplicatable? Because what is 2024 about? Growth. And how does growth happen? Is if people can duplicate what we're doing. So we're putting in place a system for duplication, live and in person, online, 24/7, that you can get them through those 3 conversations, and that will result in people joining your team with intent. Okay, they join with intent. What are they joining? A platform that can support them achieving what they want to achieve. So now, live events. We have those significant dates. We had an experience in Quebec I would love for you to have. I don't know if you've got a big enough group in your neighborhood, in your neck of the woods. Maybe you could work with some cross-line to get together and open up a city. But I want to remind you what the 18 Karat Gold Club's mandate is. 1 new diamond in every state and every province in North America. 1 new diamond in every state and province. Okay. And I'm not really referring to you guys. I want that to be a diamond on your team, not you becoming a diamond. A diamond on your team. Now, trust me when I tell you, that's what you want too. You want somebody who's operating independent of you, making a ton of money, and you get to get the 6% override on that business. That's what you want. So we want to help you do that. You got to help us find that person or persons, and we're going to cultivate them. So that's what 2024 is all about. It's all systems go. So we're going to keep reviewing it so that you have a clear understanding of the process, the system, the tools. But I think if you're going to really get into the game, get both feet in the game, make live events happen. The one that we did in Laval, where you guys saw, it was a Seiko Kai, and Leo and his team had put together an event, and we had sandwiches, lunch, whatever, over the course of the Seiko Kai. We had guests even though we had a session after the Seiko Kai, which was really a prospecting event. It was phenomenal to be there live with a team of people again, and to have such a great presentation beaming at us through the internet, live and interactive. Can you imagine if we had 10, 20, 30 cities going, where whoever's hosting the Seiko Kai says, well, let's hear from Chicago. Well, let's hear from Georgia. Well, let's hear from, California. Let's hear from, and then whoever is in your audience, sitting there in that chair in your audience, nibbling on their, tuna sandwich, and they're getting connected to all these different cities. And it's like, all of a sudden, Niken goes away from being that little tiny living room into this organization, this community that's international, it's national and international in scope. Their mind sees something different than the venue they're in. Your venue all of a sudden becomes a window into a world. That's the vision. So don't worry if it's small or if it's just your living room. That's not the point. You put enough living rooms in North America on that Zoom, and all of a sudden it's the world they're seeing, your guest. So that's how we're going to make this vision. So I want you to see that. I want you to see yourself, and part of that identity as somebody who can host an event. I know most of you have done it, and tell me if it's not true. It's the best thing you've done, right? It's the most fun, right? So I want to leave you with one last word that you might want to incorporate into your identity. You're the person who makes fun happen. This year, for me, it's all about fun, because I have the most fun when I'm building my Niken business, not managing it, building it. That's when I have the most fun, me personally. When I'm at my best, when I'm learning the most, when all of a sudden you get ideas that come from me that, well, that was a great presentation, whatever. Those things come out of the ethers because I'm in the frequency, I'm in the zone. I have the best time when I'm in the zone, and I have the best time of being in the zone when I'm with my friends and my colleagues of like mind. So I know that's true for you too. So start doing it. Host your first one, maybe January 20th, or plan on hosting a wellness preview tied to one of the Happy Life Balance Lives. Like an excuse to get some people together and have some coffee or whatever. Some pie mag water, some whatever. Just make it fun, but use the tools as an excuse. Oh, there's this live event going on tonight at 8:30. Is it 8:30 or 8? I can't remember. Anyway, there's this live event going on. Can you be at my place? We're going to have some hors d'oeuvres. We'll have a cocktail and we'll listen and check it out. Make fun happen in your life, guys. And that means be with people. Care, love on some people, give them some hugs, let them learn about our community. Does this sound like something you want to be a part of in 2024? Yeah, I know. And Maggie, I'm counting on you to put something together for me to come out to BC. I know Paul and Mary Ellen are working on that in their neck of the woods, so we'll make it one cross-Canada tour.
Yeah, we've already got the room booked and the date set, and Luis has agreed to come as well, so it's going to be great in May.
Do I have that in my calendar? Did you
Well,
give it
we
to me
talked
already?
about it no, we talked about it at Boss. I'll send it to you.
Okay, good. All right. Guys, this is how you do it, man. Set the date, book the room, make it happen. January 1, I went online and I started spending money like it was coming out of my ears because I made a decision. I am celebrating my 60th in style the way I want to do it.
Yeah.
So you make a decision and you go for it, guys. Mike, am I coming out to your neck of the woods?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I don't know if
Nashville,
I believe
Tennessee.
that. Okay. Now, I tell you something I did with the French Canadian group. Maybe we should do it with this group.
Right.
So I asked them to come up with their goals. And they have to be very clear about what they want for 2024. Nikan, where Nikan is concerned specifically, but not only Nikan. And they have to assume the identity of the person who's achieved it. And I said, next week, you're going to speak to me about your goals. I want to hear them from every one of you. And I'm going to be like Simon Cowell. I'm going to rate you on a scale of 1 to 10 in terms of how believable I believe you are with respect to identifying with it. So we're going to work on that because that's a work in progress, because we got to get your belief up to a level where if I was a stranger and I heard you talking, I would have no doubt believing you. So you need to have no doubt believing you.
Amen.
All right. So next week we'll have some fun with this. I wrote it down. Rate 1 to 10. Gold leaf. Okay. And I'll put the 18 karat gold information out again with some specifics. All right,
Thank you,
everybody.
Mike.
Thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Let's have a great year.
Thank you. Good stuff.